Hello, everybody. Welcome to my weird, wonderful world. I would have had this video for you yesterday, but it took me a little while to figure out how to put the images, well, right there on the screen for you guys, and to be able to change from one to the other. I had a whole different idea of how it might work, but then it took me just a little over an hour yesterday, and I didn't figure it out. I was wasting time, but today I spent about another 20 minutes, and after 20 minutes, it's like, oh, that's what I need to do. Of course, this is a continuation from my last, excuse me, from my last video where I went through my 80s, the albums from the 80s that I own, the iconic ones, of course. And so I wanted to show you all the 80s albums, okay, that I don't have but I want. There's 25 of them in all, okay, and or 24. I believe it's 24. Well, we'll see. I have them all here, okay, and again, I'm going. I want to show you. Excuse me. I want to show you in order of course release, and this was April of 1980. Okay, 1980. Wow, that's April of 1980. That's like wow, so long ago. So long ago. 25. 30, 20, 35. Wow, 45 years ago. 45 years ago. Yeah, so but I had this on somewhere. I either on cassette or whatever, but I did have British Steel. It was a good Judas Priest album, but yes, I definitely need to get that. These are all albums that I need to get that's from the 80s. And plus I'm going to be doing this for yeah. Plus, I'm also going to be doing this for this. I'll do the next decade. I'll be doing this the 70s, and then the next one after that will be the 80s. So in April now, the next year of 1981, we have Fair Warning. Yes, Van Halen. This is a great album. Again, it's an iconic album, and it's necessary to get in my collection. I do want some Van Halens for sure. I mean, of course, more than this one. But as the iconic albums go, this is one I need in my collection. Absolutely, 100%. And then in September of '81, and I need to find it here, is this one here. Oh yeah, Saxon Denim and Leather. Oh yeah, we are. She was the princess of the night. One of my favorite Saxon song. This is a great album. It represents such a rockin' evolution of music, and yeah, it definitely is an album. At least this one after I might even I have because this is the one for sure. I don't even really know the other Saxons albums. All I know is basically this one, Denim and Leather, so it totally counts, 100% for sure. So now we're gonna have let me see, where is it? Right here in yep, November of 1981. We have Motley Crue's "Too Fast for Love." Awesome album. Again, is it on with the show? Yeah, on with the show. Yeah, that's one of my favorite songs of Motley Crue. This is a I do want some Motley Crue. There's other ones I do want to get, but I do love Too Fast for Love. One of the better albums. And but I know no the first I would say the first 5 6 albums maybe are the best albums that they do, and then I kind of lost track of them. But this, of course, is their debut album, and this is the place to start for sure, for sure. Now in December of 1981, and let me see if I need to find it here. Oh, it would be right here. Boom. They're not in order, so I gotta make sure. Yeah, right here. That's Black Flag, and that's Damage. That's the name of the album. It's called Damage. Ah, Henry Rollins' seminal album. I remember it was good. I don't remember what was on it, but I know that it's an iconic album, and I didn't have it, but I know I know somebody had it. They played it. And there's other albums of Black Flag, but this is the one that I remember liking the most. This is the one that, in my memories of memories, this is the one I wanted. So I will eventually get this one and a few other Black Flags. They're a really cool little punk band that I always liked. I have such respect for Henry Rollins. So now we're going to go into 1982, February of 1982, and now I'm looking for this one. Yes, open up Bad Brains. This is your self-titled album, of course. Who doesn't like Bad Brains? And this is a pretty iconic album. Look at that cover, right? Look at that cover. It's awesome. So yeah, let's keep going. Um, Although I didn't have it back then, okay, but once I'm just gonna look for it here, right there, this one. Boom. The Clash, Combat Rock. Yeah, this is something I need to get. Of course, we're going to 80s, but if we were in the 70s, there's other Clash stuff I would want, of course. But this is an iconic album of the 80s, and something I would want to get for sure. Amongst, of course, the other Clash albums, but this would be top of the list because this is an iconic album. All right, let's continue. Oh yeah, the next one is good. Right here. Yeah. The more Judas Priest was screaming for vengeance. Yeah, this was the album. This was the for me the pinnacle album, the one that I loved the most way back then. I know I had this somehow. I must have been like I said because in the 80s that's what I had. There was CDs was a 90s thing for sure. Yeah, pretty much for sure. Around the time the Tool came out, that's when CDs were starting to become a little bit more popular. Because I know in '92 I had Opiate in on cassette for sure. So I mean, I was even by the early, so everything from the '80s basically I had on cassette, and definitely had this. I loved it. Now the next band we're going to get into here. I like this, and I wouldn't mind getting some of the early stuff of this group. Yeah, well, we're gonna go with Def Leppard and Pyromania, January of 1983. So yeah, now we are now in 1983, and so yeah, all great stuff on that. Rock of Ages, I believe, is on that. So yeah, it's a good album. I'm just gonna keep this moving. I don't want to make this video too long, so not as long as the other ones. Now continue. So also, no, this one here first. So in April of 1983, we got David Bowie. Let's dance. And yeah, put on your dancing shoes because this is a great album. Again, it's an iconic album of the 80s. And this is what we're talking about 80s albums, year by year. So yeah, that definitely is a good one. Oh, 1983 had a lot of cool, interesting stuff that I was a big fan of all these. How about Huey Lewis and the News with sports? September of 1983. I want a new drug, and is it? Ooh, yeah, this is the heart of rock and roll. I love this album. I want to get this album. If I can get a cool like a deluxe version of this album, I would, because this was not so much the other albums, of course. I might look into. They do some good music. I know there's a couple of albums that are really good that they do that I wouldn't mind getting, but this would be, of course, the beginning. I would have to start with this one because this was a seminal album, absolutely. Or how about this artist? Let's get a female in here. I like this album. I missed this album. I remember rocking this album. Of Cyndi Lauper's "She's So Unusual." This is of October of 1983. Keeping in 1983. Yeah, yeah. So now with the next one, okay, I loved their video and I was always aware of it, and always kind of wanted to get it, but and I will. I have some of their other stuff for now. I have a couple of their older albums, but yes, 90125, and that has the owner of a lowly heart. So that was November of 1983. Yes, we're still in 1983. But in December, okay, the next month after this one, so this was November of 1983 for the S here. So now we're gonna what is that? Nope, not that one. Right here. Oh yeah, we're gonna show no mercy. Nah, not in December. We're gonna finish off the year with a bang with of course Slayer, one of the big four. But again, I wasn't into Slayer until just a little bit later. Once and I believe it was South of Heaven was one of the first ones that I had heard from Slayer, and then we kind of worked back from that. But Show No Mercy is a great album and deserves to be gotten. I do have a couple of Slayers, but I do want more, absolutely, for sure. And then now this was a big album, and I still want the next one here. I'm going to show. We're now going to in 1984, the next year over, okay, and right early in the year, January of 1984, to ring in the new year. Where is it? It has to be here somewhere. Come on. Uh, right there. Sorry. Boom. Van Halen, 1984. What's the best way to start 1984 with 1984? What a great album. I love Jump. I love Panama. I love this whole album, and it deserves to be gotten. Absolutely 100%. And now the next one. And this, I would argue, this is for me personally. It was my introduction to this band, and it was kind of my favorite album of this band. And we're going with Motley Crue and the Theater of Pain. I love Smoking in the Boys' Room. I know it's a cover song, but I love Smoking in the Boys' Room. And what's another one from this that I really like? Home Sweet Home. Home Sweet Home is on this, and yeah, you can't complain with that. I think it's a great album. I always loved that cover for some. It's a I don't know. It's a weird cover, and some people probably, yeah, but I always loved this cover. I thought it was a great cover. Okay, let's keep going. Let's keep going. Oh yeah, and by the way, the Van Halen 1984 was the only album I have in 1984. This is June. This Motley Crue here. This is June of 1985. So this is next year, and now we're this is the only album from 1985 I have on here. We're going to go with the next one on the list, which should be oh yeah, he sells, but who's buying? Megadeth. Oh, that hit the airway. I like this right from the beginning, right from 1986. 1986 was this, of course, Master of Puppets, Master of Puppets. That's the one, because once you start learning about Metallica, very quickly you start learning about Megadeth and Anthrax and Slayer, of course. The big four. Because for me, the '80s, especially around this time, I was becoming a metalhead, and this was a very important album in my metal development, for sure. Of course, because the next one, in October of 1986, oh yeah, we're gonna rain in blood. Yeah, Slayer. So, of course, this is when I was getting really big into this. Absolutely. But then in November of 1986, and remember, I'm not a big rap fan at all, okay? But you got these three white guys that come out and they do this, they do Beastie Boys, License to Ill, fight for your right, and no sleep until Brooklyn. I mean, and but of course you got Brass Monkey, Paul Revere. I always really love Paul Revere. Such great stuff on this. Yeah, so you have to be a Beastie Boys fan for sure, for sure. We're almost done. We got five more left to go. Now we're hitting into 1987, and yeah, I do want this album. I don't want a lot of his work, maybe just some of his early work, but yeah, Michael Jackson's bad. You can't. It's a good album. I like the title track. You know, I'm not gonna dwell on this long, but yeah, Michael Jackson's good. You can't really argue with that. It's still some nostalgia that I need. I mean, I have Thriller. I have another one of his there, Ecstasy, I think it's called. But then the new, yeah, that of course, Bad was in August of 1987. Now we're going to go January of 1988, and we're skipping over some dates here. I'm just showing the ones the iconic albums of the 80s that I need, that I want. I know there's so much I'm missing. I'm probably, I could mention Bruce Springsteen. I could mention the Phil Collins, okay, and maybe eventually I probably get those ones, but these were the ones that I really needed. So and then now we're going to go back into some more thrash metal with the Megadeth. So far so good. So what? Yep. That was of course January of 1988. Now we got Now we're going into 1989 for the last three coming up here. So in January of 1989, and I do love this album, and I will eventually get it, is their self-titled debut album, Skid Row. I believe this is the one with 18 in life, you've got it. 18 in life, you know. Yeah, it's good. It's a good album. So I loved it, so I might as well get it eventually. Maybe some other stuff too, but that's where I would start with some Skid Row, January of 1989, and of course now there. Okay, I had mentioned an artist. I'll mention it as I show you the artist right here. In July of 1989, they come out with Paul Boutique, which is probably, in my honest opinion, my very favorite. Yeah, I think it is my favorite. Now, the one that's not going to be mentioned on this list that came out this year, it came out I think before this one or maybe right after it, is Check Your Head. Check Your Head. Is that in the 80s? But that wasn't as big as Paul's Boutique or as Licensed to Ill. But I have Check Your Head, and I love that album. I need Paul's Boutique. I still don't have a License to Ill. Do I have Check Your Head? Yeah, I do have Check Your Head, and I do have Root Down. Those are the only ones I have. Yeah, I just realized my two Beastie Boys CDs are separated. Okay, I gotta have to put those together. But yeah, Paul's Boutique. So much good. Looking down the barrel of a gun. Yeah, it's such a great album. High Plains Drifters on this. I love this album. So okay, let's continue with the last one here. The very last one that you know. I like this band, and I don't talk about them, and I haven't. Where is it? I don't see it here. I know it's here. Where did I put that, George? Oh, right there. It was hiding. Yeah, there. That's the last one. That's October of 1989. Yep, Pretty Hate Machine by Nine Inch Nails. That is again a monumental album. It's a necessary album to get, and I will want it. I have that? I think I did have that. I don't know how often I had played it, but I did have it. And again, it's an album that represents the 80s for me that I do absolutely would want to get for sure. And that's it. That was all 24, 25 that I have shown you here. I'm glad this worked out actually after all. Yeah, that was kind of frustrating yesterday trying to get this to work the way I thought it was going to work, and it didn't work the way I was. But now I know what I'm doing. So everybody, yeah, thank you for watching. If you got to this far, and if you haven't subscribe to my channel yet, please do, because I will greatly appreciate it and love you forever. Don't be afraid to hit the like button, absolutely. And of course, leave a comment. I will do what I can to comment back, or at the very least, leave a my heart, my channel's heart for sure. That always means that I liked your comment, even if I don't actually make a comment back, but 99% of the time I do. I try to leave comments as much as I can. Okay, I'm done. Everybody, you know what I'm going to say. Be safe. Take care. I will see you on the flip side. And please, everybody, have a great day, evening, morning, night, or afternoon, wherever you may be. Peace, everybody.